Before we finish up chapter 5, just want to talk a little bit about exam 2. That's this week. So your experience with exam 2 should basically be exactly the same as it was for exam 1. That it's going to be administered on Blackboard. Everything will kind of look and feel the same. The main difference is that the content will be different. It'll be everything we've done since exam 1. So both chapters 4 and 5. So all of that content, starting with reactions on through everything about heat here. There is a review that you can find in the exam 2 folder. Highly encourage you to take a look at that. I think not only is it a good way to prepare for the test, but you also do get 5 points added onto your test score. That is designed to be a worthwhile reward for expending your effort on doing that. The review is not like a one-to-one perfect preparation like this question is this question, but in purpose is to kind of refresh all that we've talked about, kind of make sure you're aware of these are all the topics we've talked about, and kind of the levels I expect you to know about those different topics in those different areas. And, you know, I encourage you to take a look at that, and then you can check your work with the answers that I post, and just kind of see, do you know where you're at? How should you kind of focus? Where should you focus your studying? The actual test will be available from Thursday at noon until Saturday at midnight, just like we had with test 1. And again, the time limit will be 2 hours. When I say you have to complete it in one sitting, basically what that means is if you log in, open the test, a 2-hour timer starts. So if you leave Blackboard, that 2-hour timer just keeps going. It's not like you can use 2 hours spread out. So you do need to have it kind of do it in one go. It is okay if like your Blackboard window closes or something, you can get back in, but you do need to have kind of that single 2-hour window. You are going to upload work just like you've done for test 1. It'll work in the same. It will work in the same way, where you want to do it soon after you submit the test. You know, it can be image or PDF, but if you do have issues submitting anything, I do recommend using a PDF. Also, you can always just email it to me if you do have concerns or issues using Blackboard. The idea here is I want to see your work. I want to see your explanations. I want to see your calculations. We have a decent bit of numerical work here with stoichiometry, the calorimetry equations. So I want to see that work that you are doing to complete the problems. To help you know when to include that additional work, I have all caps instructions in problems. If there's no, it's all caps bolded, I think underlined, you know, trying to draw your attention to it. If you don't see anything like that, then you don't need to put anything in the uploaded work. And then the verb that I include, like explain, means I'm looking for an explanation. Show your work means I want to see the calculation, that kind of stuff. If I, you know, if I just say like give, then you just need to like write the answer in your uploaded work. And that usually I use those when it's like I don't want to deal with like formatting issues. You know, like how do you format a chemical formula or something like that? So, or chemical reaction equation. So just have you write it in your, you know, in your work and then upload that. Along those lines with formatting, scientific notation, and chemical formulas, one of the ideas actually of having you upload your work is that it lets me not deal with formatting of, say, things like scientific notation and chemical formulas, where you have a lot of subscripts and superscripts that are hard and or impossible to communicate via Blackboard. So that's really another. There are ways that I'm looking for it. There's ways that you can put scientific notation in a number, and also get your chemical formula in order of the symbols, as opposed to not necessarily the location of the symbols, relative location up and down, but you can at least get them in the right order. And that's what I'm looking for. And I always do check, even if Blackboard marks you wrong, I look and see, are you trying to give the right answer, and is Blackboard just marking you wrong for like formatting issues, because Blackboard's pretty picky. When it comes to studying, I would encourage you to take a look at, think about how test 1 went, and how that experience was, and if your studying was valid. What was the helpful parts of your studying? What was the unhelpful part of your studying? What parts of the test did you feel unprepared for? And how can you address that? And if you want, I'm happy to talk about that. Was it a conceptual thing like, man, I could do all the calculations, but I couldn't explain anything? Well, then maybe focus on things where there are explanations, like look in the review and look where I ask for explanations. It's probably where I'm going to ask for explanations here. Where in participation questions, or where in lecture examples was I giving an explanation, kind of writing things out like that. That's the kind of thing that you want to be keying in on in terms of how, or was it the mathematics? Then maybe practice with some more participation or review problems that were more mathematical in nature, more computational in nature, get some practice on that. Again, I'm always happy to meet to not only discuss content, but to discuss ways that you can maybe get that content, ways that you can better prepare or make your studying more efficient. I know you don't have a ton of time, so, none of us, I know life's crazy. And so, I want you to be, it's best if you're using what time you do have to study the most efficiently. If you're spending a bunch of time studying content you already know, that's not going to be the most useful. So, instead, spend your time on what will be the most bang for your buck, is the kind of idea. Because, that's a good efficient strategy that, study harder or study smarter, not harder, right? You don't necessarily spend a ton of time that's not useful. You'd rather spend a little bit of time really kind of learning what's the most important or what's the most useful. This week, because of the test, only one participation, the midweek homework, and then the exam. This content from this set of videos will be on the test. If you have any questions about completing any of the stuff, please do not hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, welcome to week 9. Welcome to this set of videos. Enjoy.